Sewell Village Cadillac, Preston Road at Mockingbird.
News Talk 57, WFAA, Kevin McCarthy on open lines at 9:16 now. Pardon me, 742-5700 and 263-4905 are the numbers. I think we have one line available for you in each city. And now, without further ado, let's get to the phones and get cracking. Hi there. What's going on? Hello?
Hello?
There you are.
Yes.
Hi, we're on the air.
Hi, I'm called to talk about the ring around the collar commercial.
The ring around the collar commercial.
I hate that commercial. It's horrible.
First major subject of the morning. What is it that bugs you so much about that?
Well, he should wash his neck.
He should wash his neck?
Yes, if he would just wash his filthy neck or his hair, there wouldn't be that dirt around his collar.
Ring around the collar, ring. Yeah, but those are so dumb.
I know, I really hate it, and I just wanted to make this the only peeve I have right now in this world.
That's the only thing in the world that's bugging you.
Is the ring around the collar commercial.
Tell me what you think about the rest of the day when you're not thinking about ring around the collar commercials.
Well, I'm working, and I listen to your show at work. What I also wanted to ask was interviewers who watched the Return of Gilligan Island.
Uh-huh.
The scene with the shark when it was going around and around the boat, I thought I saw either a scuba diver manually moving that shark around or it was a motor, and I was wondering if anyone else saw it.
I don't know. This is going to sound so stupid, but Saturday night when I was at my high school reunion, the only thing I felt bad about all night was the fact that I was missing the reunion of Gilligan's Island crew because I really wanted to see that. It was horrible?
Just that one scene.
Oh, just that one scene. I'm sure the rest of it, my father watched it, and he gave me a play-by-play.
Yeah.
And they're having the part 2 of that coming up this weekend or next weekend.
Yes.
You know what's going to happen in that? They're going to go back out on a pleasure yacht to celebrate the skipper's new yacht, and they're all going to get marooned again.
You're kidding. But isn't Gilligan going to marry Mary Ann?
Oh, come on. Would Mary Ann marry Gilligan?
Watch and see.
You're kidding.
I believe she will.
Well, I'd like to marry Mary Ann.
I'm sure you would.
She was. My father said, by the way, that she was a little bit more well-developed now than on the early Gilligan's Island.
Much more. But ask them if they saw that. I'm curious.
Well, see if anyone else saw the shark and the motor or the scuba diver, we'll ask them to call.
You can see the camera showed the person just taking this. It was just a short tail.
Well, Gilligan's Island is not exactly your major big-budget production, I'm sure.
But that just really irritated me.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
News Talk 57, Kevin McCarthy. Top of the morning to you. Hello there. Hi.
Hello.
What's on your mind today?
Well, our home is inundated with stray animals. It seems like we're calling the animal control place sometimes twice a week. Ones that we catch or ones that come up on our porch begging for food and such.
Uh-huh.
My husband and I would like to make a suggestion.
To all pet owners.
To all pet owners. We would like to see all of the signs that are posted, free animals, and all the newspaper ads that say free animals at such and such place. We would like to see those people called and find at least $30 per animal for breeding unwanted animals.
No, wait a minute. Because, see, now you're doing an ordinance that's going to unfairly affect me, the nice, good old guy here that took in a stray cat that was about 2 weeks away from giving away from having kittens. And now this cat has kittens, and I've got 5 kittens, and in about a week or two, when they're ready to be weaned, I'm going to put up a sign and say, $50 cats free today only. Now, I don't want to be fined $30 for my act of humanitarianism.
Well, I agree that it is a many-pronged situation, and we love animals very dearly, but we have seen so many sick and weak animals because people get them when they're kittens or puppies, and then they don't want them, and they bring them here and turn them loose, or they get loose and nobody cares about getting them again. And it's
Where do you live?
We live in Garland, and it could be that they come here because there's a creek behind the house, but it is unbelievable the number of stray animals and sick animals that come here.
Have you tried putting up a fence?
We have a fence, but they sit on our front porch and beg for food.
Maybe they just know you're a soft touch.
We must be terribly. Yeah. But we feel that there should be something done, because if people knew that they were going to have to pay enough to have the animal spayed and taken care of before they sold it, or else be fined, well, then there would be there wouldn't be these animals suffering this way. That's just a suggestion. I really think it would be a good one.
Okay. We take you on your suggestion, and we thank you for calling 742-5700 and 263-4905. I mean, it's a good idea. I just don't want to pay $150 in fines. Folks, I mean, I'm willing to feed these little boogers there, but I don't... Boy, that's a lot of money. We'll be right back and continue on Open Lines right after this.
In the bustling Metroplex, you're probably not accustomed to visiting your banker over a cup of coffee. Yet this is the way we do business at Union Bank in Preston Center. Whatever your financial concern, we're always ready to help you solve a problem or make the most of an opportunity, putting your money to work for you. Union Bank pays the maximum rate allowed by law on passbook savings, certificates of deposit, and the popular new money market certificates. Your personal checking account is free when you maintain an average balance of $500 or more, which gives you more flexibility than a required minimum balance. Union Bank's drive-in banking is fast and easy, with convenient entrances on Northwest Highway and Berkshire Lane. Centrally located at the crossroads of North Dallas, Union Bank is on Berkshire Lane just off the North Dallas Toll Road at Northwest Highway. The customized personal touch service is as warm as the cup of coffee awaiting you at Union Bank on Berkshire Lane just off the North Dallas Toll Road in Preston Center. Union Bank is a member of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
The captain is...
All right, sure is a crowded flight.
Yeah,
say, would you mind moving your foot? Oh, that's not my foot. That belongs to the guy sitting by the window.
It does?
Yeah, those are my feet over there in front of him. You see with the loafers?
Oh, yeah, nice loafers. Sir, excuse me, would you mind moving?
He's asleep.
Well, could you shake him for me?
Why don't you shake him?
I can't move my arms.
Flying coach on most airlines can be pretty crowded in these days of discount fares, but on Continental, regular coach has its own seating area. We don't jam discount passengers into coach. In fact, we're working harder than ever to give the coach passenger the treatment that he's paying for. More room, better meals, less crowding, and a better choice of seats right up to the last minute. Before your next business trip, call Continental or your travel agent.
Stewardess?
Yes?
How can I eat my soup? I can't move here.
I'll get you a straw, sir.
If you can't find Continental, who's gonna move great care for you?
Continental has daily nonstop 727 service to Seattle and the only 727 flights to Albuquerque.
Two spiritual mediums prepared to welcome a sucker.
How about the wrappings? Okay, that's good. Now, don't get so thin that you can't do that anymore, because the wrappings set the tone of the whole thing. Now, she will be here at 9 o'clock, and I want everything ready. I want you ready, because this may lead to something very big, really big.
Listen here for the amusing story, Death and Desire, starring Mercedes McCambridge on CBS Radio Mystery Theater tonight. E.G. Marshall's your host behind the creaking door at 11 o'clock on WFAA, Dallas-Fort Worth.
News Talk 57 and Kevin.
9:24 in the morning on what's going to be a beautiful day to be at the State Fair, and we hope if you come out here that you'll stop by and say hello to us. We're in the Centennial Building, which last year was named the World Exhibit Building, and next year will probably be the Ed Bush Memorial Talk Show Building. We'll have to wait and see about that. Let's take another call now on Open Line. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, I would like to comment on the animals, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Because what I wanted to say was I heard the new Pope John Paul II this morning.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was funny because to me he sounds exactly like the comedian who plays on Taxi. I don't know his name.
Oh, no.
I realize a lot of people
no.
may have Polish accents, and I don't even know if this comedian's accent is Polish or not.
Uh-huh.
The high quality of his voice, and they sound just exactly alike, and I thought it was funny.
It is. It's good. I haven't heard any yet, but you know that over the next few months, once the sensitivity of having the new Pope and the recent death of Pope John Paul has been put back in the back of most people's minds, we're going to hear a string of Pope Polish jokes.
I would think so.
I'm just glad for his sake that he also didn't take a degree at A&M when he was growing up.
Oh yes, definitely. Oh, that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. News Talk 57, WFAA, Kevin McCarthy, and that frees up a couple of lines for you, 742-5700, 263-4905, open line, anything goes. Good morning, you're on the air. Hello? Anyone home? Everyone has hung up on us here? 742-5700, 263-4905. Let's try this line. Hello there. What has happened? Is everyone... Oh, there you are.
Here I am.
Well, good morning to you.
Morning to you,
You
Kevin.
left
How
me
are
hanging. I was caught with my tongue down.
Aha. Okay, I've got a pet peeve.
What is your pet peeve?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very disgusting. These motorcycle patrolmen on, well, I've seen them on LBJ, North LBJ. They sit under the bridges with their radar, which is fine, trapping speeders, which if somebody's speeding, they deserve to get a ticket. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, if you break the law, you got to pay to the piper and all that.
Right, right.
But
what they do, which I think is very wrong, and they're breaking the law, is they will go after their speeder, ticket them, turn around, and drive the wrong way back up the highway.
Back on the surface road of the shoulder?
On the shoulder, but they're going the wrong way.
Right.
I'm wondering, this one that got hit last, what was it, Saturday, I think?
Friday, I think.
Whenever it was. I'm wondering if that's what he was doing.
Gee, I really don't know. But I don't think he was in this case. But I know what you mean. It's really, you know, when you're sitting there and you're taking your heavy foot off the gas pedal to keep from busting the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and you see a policeman who is shading the law or, you know, breaking the law or doing something that's not real smart, you kind of go,
Yeah, right. But just to get up and, you know, instead of going up to the next exit, going down the right way down the highway and, you know, sit there and ticket them. That's fine.
That could cause an accident. You're right.
Right, but they do cause accidents. So that's my pet peeve.
We thank you for bringing it out and getting it off your chest.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
News Talk 57, open line. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi there. Hello. Anybody home? Where are these people going? They're disappearing on us. Hello, you're on WFAA News Talk 57.
Hi, nice talking to you. Bye.
What? That guy did that yesterday. Who is that? Who is that masked man? That frees up the line in Dallas. 742-5700 and 263-4905 are the phone numbers. Strange things going on today. Wide open line will continue this morning. Also coming up at 10 o'clock, we'll be talking with, what's her name, Leslie? Lindsay? Leslie? No. What's her name? Speak up, close. It's Leslie Lindsley. Or Lindley or something. She's an expert in the field, and she's going to shoot me for not remembering her name exactly. But she's very, very well known for Fabulous Furniture Decorations, which is the name of her new book. And we're going to be talking about refinishing furniture and beating the high cost of furniture when we talk with her this morning around 10. At 10:30 this morning, we'll be talking with comedian. She's not coming now? Oh, well, she canceled. Well, up her refinishing or whatever. Well, at 10:30, comedian Norm Crosby will be here. Has he canceled too? I knew I should have stayed in bed today and claimed to have the flu like Ed Bush. But Norm Crosby will be here at 10:30. At 11 o'clock this morning, Billy Joe Dupree of the Dallas Cowboys will be here. And let's get back to the phones now. Good morning. You're on the air.
Kevin.
Yes.
I wanted to say something about the lady that was talking about the Dallas policeman. I think she's definitely got it wrong, and the way she sounds, I would guess that she's the kind of person that caused the accident. What happened is the Dallas policeman had pulled a speeder over on the left-hand side of the road. Fast lane. Okay, he let the speeder go, and apparently he had just got back on his bike to start running radar again. Okay, so what happened is the speeder pulled out in the left-hand lane, which was open. A person in the next lane over stomped on their brakes because, for no reason, needless to say, but they were scared because they thought the person in the left-hand lane was going to swerve in their lane, right? When they stomped on their brakes, the truck driver had to stomp on his brakes, which, as you know, on a big truck will cause it to jackknife.
And it did, and that caused
it. He swerved. Unfortunately, hit the policeman.
That's how that policeman was unfortunately hit. But I have seen the ones doing what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the thing is, you've got to remember that this Texas driving law states that the only time you can break a law is when a policeman tells you to. Like, say the traffic lights stay red and they tell you go.
Go, yes.
The law while he's directing traffic, right? Well, they are in the same position. When they're doing their job, the laws don't make any difference on that sort of thing because
Well, now
they're in more of a position they need to get where they're going.
If there's an urgent or an emergency need, I can understand that. But just for convenience sake, traveling, say, a quarter of a mile up the wrong side of going the wrong way on a shoulder, for people might not see that officer or expect to see someone coming up the wrong way, and an officer might be doing that simultaneously as someone got a flat and pulled off on the shoulder.
There, but it seems like most of them that I've seen, like, I'm not what you call the police's biggest liker, but I'm not their biggest critic either.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they are. To me, I've seen more policemen do safer driving. I mean, at least the policemen use their turn signals.
Yes. Oh, at least they do that. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. We got to take a break now and find out what's going on in the world. 742-5700, 263-4905 are the telephone numbers. Open line will continue right after we find out what is going on, and here to tell us about that is Dick Wheeler.
All right, Kevin, we thank you. And what's going on is the 1978 Nobel Prize for Chemistry was awarded this morning to British Professor Peter Mitchell of Glynn Research Laboratories in Cornwall. He was cited for his studies of bioenergical energy transfer in an area of biochemistry known as bioenergetics. Earlier today, it was announced that the Nobel Prize in Physics had been awarded jointly to two Americans and a Russian. They're Doctors Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson of Bell Telephone Laboratories of New Jersey and Professor Peter Kapsita of Moscow. Pope John Paul II says his primary job will be to complete the reforms in the Roman Catholic Church instituted by the Vatican II Council. The new pontiff delivered his first sermon in the Vatican today. The 7 Arab League nations meeting just outside Beirut are expected to wind up their talks today. They're trying to work out a plan to bring peace to Lebanon. Sources say part of that plan will be an extension of the mandate for the so-called peacekeeping force in Lebanon. 7 people died early today in a fire in Philadelphia. Authorities say they suspect arson because of the speed with which the fire swept through the 3-story row house. Here at home, a witness has told Fort Worth police that 16-year-old Thomas A. Green intentionally left one round in a revolver when he played Russian roulette and, of course, lost. WFAA's Bob West has more.
The incident occurred on the parking lot of Southwest High School as 3 boys sat in a parked car waiting for a 4th youngster so all could cut classes. They had gone to the car on the pretense of getting some forgotten school books. Green, the son of Major and Mrs. Thomas A. Green, found a revolver in the glove compartment, emptied all but one shell, and started to play Russian roulette. After several misfires, the gun went off with the bullet tearing through Green's head. It ricocheted off the inside car roof and struck 15-year-old Stephen Williams, who suffered a minor scalp wound. He was treated and released from a local hospital. Green died at the hospital a few minutes after the mishap. The 3rd boy was not hurt. He said the loaded gun was visible inside the unlocked glove compartment. The 4th student in whose car the events occurred told police he had placed his father's gun in the glove compartment because he had been chased by another car Friday night. Bob West, WFAA News Talk 57.
A federal judge in Houston says Texas inmates should complain in the courtroom and not in prison courtyards. The judge, who is hearing lawsuits filed by inmates, said that behind bars demonstrations are not the way to settle the situation. The defense begins its presentation in the Laredo trial of a San Antonio man charged with killing a policeman. Lawyers are expected to argue that the officer was shot by a colleague. And the Judicial Conduct Commission in Houston has been looking into reports that Houston municipal court judges fix traffic tickets. The board's executive director says time has expired for that practice. The weather outlook, fair through Wednesday, mild in the afternoons, cool again tonight. The high today, lower 80s, low in the morning, lower 50s. The high Wednesday, upper 80s, winds southerly 10 to 15 miles an hour. Right now, the wind is from the south-southeast at 8 miles per hour. Skies are clear, and it's a beautiful 55 degrees at DFW Airport. I'm Dick Wheeler, WFAA News Talk 57. It's also presumably 55 or thereabouts out at the State Fair of Texas, where we rejoin Kevin McCarthy.
Wow.
What's up?
Well, that was just my impression of a cow mooing. I'm just trying to get more of a feel of the animals here at the fair.
Oh.
Dick, I know you are generally, as most journalists are, necessarily skeptical until you see something proven or, not easy to buy, new and wild and crazy theories and all those kinds of things.
This is true.
That's very true. And I also know that you were sitting there, I think, The first time around, and also last time, I'm sure you were probably aware that Gene Tier predicted we would probably have a pope from a communist country. And for the
By golly, that's right.
For the first time in 500 years. Mm-hmm.
You are absolutely right. I had forgotten about that.
Are you a little more interested in numerology now than before?
You betcha.
We're going to talk to Jean a little later and find out how she got that feeling.
Okay, good.
And we thank you for bringing us up to date on what's happening.
You betcha. See you in an hour.
Okay, sir.
Right.
9:35 now on News Talk 57. Open line continuing with Kevin McCarthy. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello.
You haven't been canceled today, have you?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
No, ma'am. No. Well, good. What's on your mind?
I was wondering about daylight savings.
Daylight savings time.
Will it go off soon, and when?
When does that usually happen? In late October, doesn't it? End of October? Is it the last day of October? The last Sunday in October or something like that?
I don't know. I thought it was September, and I just was...
We're getting some nodding heads out here in the studio. I think it's the last Sunday in October. At 2 o'clock in the morning, it suddenly changes back to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
or something
it's so dark. It's 7. I just was wondering when it's going to change back.
Sometime soon, and then it will be real dark real early in the evening.
Right.
You'll be driving home in the dark instead of in the light.
Right.
Fall back, spring forward. All those falls forward, spring back. No, what is it? I forget. Thank you very much for calling.
Forward.
Okay. News Talk 57 WFAA. Open line continues. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about people that let their dogs bark day and night. And the neighbors, some of them are sick. And anyhow, if you report them, well, then they get mad about it. What are we supposed to do?
Uh-huh. I don't know. What can I tell you? That's a problem that's 100 years old. I don't have any solution.
Well, they just don't have any respect for sick people or anybody. And they expect us to enjoy listening to their dogs bark day and night.
Maybe they can't make their dog stop barking either.
Well, they can get rid of them.
Yeah.
It's not right. Okay.
Maybe they could muzzle them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tie their, put a gag around their neck.
Okay.
I'm sure it wouldn't be very fun for the dog, but I know what you mean. It's a problem. Let's take another call. 742-5700, 263-4905. Open line. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, are you talking to me?
Yes, are you talking to me?
Well, I guess I am. I wanted to tell you how my husband and I solved the problem of bad commercials on television.
You turn the TV set off.
No, 3 years ago we sold our television set, and we've never regretted it.
You haven't watched television in 3 years?
If we're over at someone's house,
and they're watching,
we'll watch it, but we haven't missed it at all.
Don't you feel like you're missing out when there are big special broadcast or sports broadcast? Isn't he a World Series and a football fan?
No, sir, we don't. You would think we would, but if it's something that we really want to see, we've got friends where we can go over to their house. And let's see, I'm 28, my husband's 29, we have a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old.
Uh-huh.
My main concern when we sold the TV was that the children might suffer because they would be missing out on National Geographic programs and Sesame Street and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to teach first grade, and so I'm just using what I learned in college and when I taught first grade to teach my own children.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter, at 17 months, already knew a third of her alphabet, and now she knows the alphabet, and she can count, and she knows rhyming words, which a lot of first graders don't understand rhyming words.
Uh-huh.
So they've done nothing but, I think, benefit from
Let me ask you a question. Say, if you're home with the kids and you're teaching the kids and everything, and your husband gets home around 5:30 or 6 or so, and you have dinner, and then it's 7 o'clock, what do you all do between 7 and 10:30 or whenever?
Oh, it's done nothing but help our marriage. My husband and I are so close now, instead of watching TV, we talk. So we know each other. We've gotten to know each other better. We have a stronger marriage. We take our kids to the park. We go to White Rock Lake and feed the ducks. We read together. We play together on the floor. We go outside and walk the dog. We go for walks. It's just done nothing but help our family life.
And it doesn't make you feel like you're detached from the society since everyone watches TV so much?
No, sir, not at all. We read the newspaper, and we listen to the radio, and we have a stereo. We don't have the dissonance in the home that we used to have. You know, TV just makes noise. A lot of times people turn the TV on just to have noise.
Yeah, just for sounds of human voices coming around.
Right. So what do? I talk to my daughter. Instead of saying, Jennifer, be quiet, I'm watching TV, I talk to her and we communicate.
You're probably going to end up being continually more close and more involved in your family's life as a result, too, I would guess.
We wouldn't have a TV now if someone gave it to us.
Well, congratulations to you. Happy to hear it's working out. That's very interesting. I've heard of people before who've said, well, let's try it for an experiment, but I haven't known anyone who's actually done it for 3 years.
Oh, it's wonderful. In fact, we have other friends that have also sold their TV.
As a result of seeing how well it worked for you all?
Well, not exactly that, but they had the conviction that they thought they would have a better marriage, too, if they sold theirs. And the people I'm talking about are newlywed people.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to get to know each other. When they got home from work, instead of watching TV, they wanted to start out by having a strong marriage by talking to each other and communicating.
Instead of just zoning out with Starsky and Hutch or whatever.
Exactly. My husband and I, 4 or 5 years ago, were on the verge of a divorce. And now we have such a strong marriage. I just love him so much. And I'm sure that a good part of that is because we communicate now.
How neat. And congratulations to you, and thank you for calling, but we must take a break now.
Bye-bye.
742-5700 and 263-4905 are the telephone numbers. We're on Wide Open line, and we'll continue talking on the phone right after this.
A garage sale is a great place to get a bargain in used furniture. Now, most folks get an old piece of furniture, and they think the only way to ever make it look right is to strip it and refinish it. That's a lot of time, money, and mess. So before you get that involved, why don't you try this? Maybe the reason the piece looks so bad is because it has a few dozen layers of wax buildup, plus all the dirt that the wax collects and holds. Now, the very best wax remover I've found is paint thinner. That's right, Mineral Spirits Paint Thinner. Just get a can of it from your painter hardware dealer, and you'll find it costs a lot less than any other wax removers, and it does a beautiful job. Just put it on with a cloth and start rubbing. Now, rub it on and then clean it off with a dry rag, and you'll be amazed at how much guck it removes. Maybe underneath there's a pretty piece of furniture. You may still have to refinish the piece, but either way, you found out quickly and easily what was underneath the dirt. Remember, that's paint thinner and not lacquer thinner. If you have questions about this or any other problems around your house, be sure to give me a call 9 to noon on Saturday or Sunday.
If you've got savings in mind, here's big news from Grandpa Moore Chevrolet.
Something great is happening here. Come on in, this is the year. We've got it all for you folks. Great cars, great service too. You'll be happy with the deal that we've got just for you. Something great is happening here.
Yes, something great is happening at Grandpa Moore Chevrolet, and you'll find out when you buy a brand new Chevette, Malibu, or Monte Carlo. You'll get a car built to last, and Grandpa Moore Chevrolet's volume of sales means we can pass great savings on to you. At Grandpa Moore Chevrolet, we sell more cars because we have more cars to sell. So come on in to Grandpa Moore Chevrolet.
Something great is happening.
At Grandpa Moore Chevrolet, 2300 Cedar Springs at Maple, your Center City Chevy dealer in downtown Dallas.
Eddie Charles, how do you feel about the tax cuts being proposed in Washington?
Well, I guess any tax cut helps a little bit, but that's not what we need. We need to really slash taxes across the board, for individuals and for business. I'm talking about 30 or 40%.
Wouldn't that just zoom the federal deficit?
Sure it would. If the bureaucrats keep on with their reckless spending, those are the irresponsible government people that ought to be fired. If we can have the big tax cut and at the same time reduce government spending, billions of dollars would pour into the private economy, and we'd see a boom like this country has never seen before. To do this, we need responsible men and women in Washington. Vote for them on November the 7th. See you at the polls.
This message sponsored by the Western Company of North America.
Where are you going? Do you have a plan? Have you really looked ahead to where you want to be?
If you're about to buy some life life insurance and want to make sure you're getting the most for your money, comparison is probably your only answer. Northwestern Mutual is the standard of comparison, and they'll be glad to give you the figures. Call the North Texas General Agency at 521-4760 for the Northwestern Mutual office closest to you. 521-4760.
Talk 57 WFAA, Kevin McCarthy, and we are talking on open lines this morning. It's a quarter till 10 at 742-5700, 263-4905. Let's take another call and see what's going on. Good morning, you're on the air. Hello?
Marie Nolan calling.
Pardon me?
Marie Nolan calling.
Marie Nolan calling? Is that supposed to mean something?
Marie, I have small white millers in my lawn, and I sprayed it real heavy with Malathon.
Uh-huh.
And they still appear. Now, what do they do in the lawn, and why didn't that Malathon control them?
What you need, what you need to do on that is get yourself a small hammer and a chisel, and go out there and hit each one of those little small white melons with that hammer and that chisel once, and that'll take care of them.
Well, now, don't you have time to do that over here? Wouldn't you have the time to do that?
You want me to come out and do that for you?
Do you have a hammer and chisel? If you don't, forget it.
I'm afraid you've got the wrong number.
Really?
Yes.
Well, now, I'm with this radio service.
You're calling WFAA radio?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm afraid you've reached the White House in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not. Trust me. Trust Jimmy. Would I lie to you?
Well, Jimmy, I love him, and I voted for him, and I think he's doing a great job.
Oh, boy.
Listen, now, who is this, really?
Who is this, really?
Yes.
This is Kevin McCarthy.
Okay.
But I don't know anything about little white spots in your yard. That was yesterday morning that we had the Dallas County Extension horticulturist on here.
The Millers is what I'm talking about.
Millers? Who are they?
Well, little, they're like butterflies on the little white millers.
Oh, well, of course. I should have understood that from the beginning. Now, what you need to do is get a hammer and a chisel.
I heard that. Okay,
Now, if that doesn't work, you can try the old two wooden blocks theory. You know, you take one block and you put it in your left hand, you take the other block and you put it in your right hand, and you catch the butterflies in between it and...
I have another question.
Okay.
You know anything about, I have a carpenter.
Yes.
And he is putting aluminum on my windowsills on the outside to eliminate maintenance.
Uh-huh.
And so my window's set back in about 5 inches.
Uh-huh.
I have a brick house.
Yes.
And so he said he would have to saw into the wood on the center of the two windows.
Of course, since there's brick there, that's a little bit of a problem, isn't it?
Oh, no, that's wood, that part.
Oh, I see.
But he sawed about an inch back, and then the aluminum that he cut didn't fit.
Oh, I know the answer to that.
I'll bet.
What you need to do is get yourself some malathion or some diazinon.
Oh, really? I want a serious answer.
Well, I don't know. Listen, let me tell you. Saturday morning from 9 to noon, call Al Carroll, the super handyman, about your windowsill problem. And then Saturday afternoon, about 1 o'clock, call Neil Sperry about your little millers and your little butterflies in the backyard, and he can answer that question.
Hey, we could save each other a lot of time if you'd have told me that in the first place.
All right, you are. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye in the car now. Oh, boy. It's a wild and crazy morning, folks. Open line continues now. Let's take another call. Oh, I didn't like that one. That's tough in the old ear. Hello, you're on the air. Good morning. Yes. What's on your mind?
This is Kevin McCarthy.
Yes.
Yes. Well, a while ago, a lady called in about dogs barking.
Yes.
and I live in Mesquite. I have, you seem to pass the thing off a little bit. You didn't really make a comment because there's not a whole lot can be done, but I thought possibly if you could say something to the people that do have dogs barking, that they would have consideration for other people.
Well, I'd like to think that we could have that kind of impact on this show, and occasionally there are areas that we can. But, you know, if you got a guy or a lady that's got a dog in the backyard and has been barking long enough to really make people angry next door, and the police have come and everything, and they still let it bark, I think they're the kind of people that hearing somebody talk about them on a talk show is not going to make them want to do anything about their dogs. You know, they're jerks.
Right,
you know?
There's really nothing can be done because I call the police about it, and if you tell them to shut up the dogs, they get mad at you, like you say.
Yeah. You know, I don't know what to do. We had that problem in my neighborhood when I was growing up. There was a family that had a loud dog, and boy, if I had the answer to that, I think I'd, you know, open a consulting service and charge $100 to answer the question of how to make your neighbor's dog shut up. Thank you for calling. We're going to check in now with Meet the Cook, and we'll continue on Open Lines right after this on WFAA.
Tell me, how would you like some company-baked steak? I'm Alan Ludden. I'm your host here on Meet the Cook, and the cook today is...
Jackie Olden.
Who's going to tell you how to make company-baked steak. But what is it, Jackie?
It's a steak, Alan, you can pop in the oven and forget about it until your guest arrives.
Don't you think that's a good idea? Well, get your paper and pencil. You'll find out how to do it in just a moment.
Take your contact, take it now. Give your code to contact.
Before you choose a cold medicine, you should know no cold tablet, no cold liquid has found the way to give you the complete 12-hour per dose relief Contact gives.
Give your code to contact.
Only Contact, and it's 600 tiny time pills that can help relieve the dripping and sneezing. Help relieve all your congestive symptoms all day, all night, no matter what cold virus attacks.
Give your code to contact. Take your contact.
Think of the difference that Contact can make for you. Relief all day while you work, all night while you rest. That's the wonder of Contact.
Give your code to contact.
Contact. Take only as directed.
Okay, Jackie, what do we need to make company-baked steak?
Well, first of all, Alan, let's get a 2-inch thick sirloin top steak.
A 2-inch thick sirloin top steak.
Right. Then we need some flour.
Flour.
Salt and pepper to taste.
Salt and pepper.
And a can of cream of mushroom soup.
A can of cream of mushroom soup.
A half a bay leaf.
Half a bay leaf.
Half a clove of garlic.
Half a clove of garlic.
A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce.
A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce.
2/3 cup water.
2/3 cup water.
And a half a onion sliced.
A half a onion sliced. Now, how do you make it?
Well, let's cut our steak into serving pieces.
What are they?
Oh, well, if you're going to serve 4 or 6, whatever, you know, depending on how
your
much.
Pound, your 2-inch. How heavy is this steak?
Well, if you're going to have 4, you naturally want one smaller than if you want one thick. Just go get a nice piece of top sirloin to serve 4 to 6.
And then cut it into pieces you want to serve. All right.
Now dredge the steak in flour.
Yeah.
And then let's brown it on both sides in hot oil in a skillet.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's place it in a large casserole, or you can even put it in a small roaster, Alan. And at this time, we'll season it with salt and pepper.
Yeah.
And then just combine the remaining ingredients in the skillet drippings and bring that to a boil. Now cook that for several minutes to let all those flavors get good married together so that it tastes good.
Yeah.
Pour it over the steak, cover it. Let's place it on the lowest rack of the oven and bake it at 325 degrees for 1 hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours until tender.
Bake at 325 degrees for 1 hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours or until it's tender.
Right.
And it'll serve, you say, depending on the size of the steak.
Yeah.
That sounds easy and very tasty.
It is good.
Not rare.
Not rare.
But good.
Of course.
It's kind of a pot roast, right?
Right.
Okay, we'll be right back.
The Concerto for Glass Plus voices. Maestro, a squeeze, please. And now, voices.
Glass Plus cleans glass without streaks. Countertops, vinyl, and chrome. Clean your appliances plus. Touch up things all over your home. Glass Plus cleans glass without streaks.
Jackie, the big thing about the company baked steak is that it's foolproof, right?
Absolutely.
And not a lot of work.
Right.
Tomorrow, Maxine Toller Van Evan is going to tell you how to make a low-calorie hot chocolate sauce. So I hope you'll join us right here on Meet the Cook on the CBS Radio Network.
At Goodyear Auto Repair Centers, we understand foreign cars. Take this one here.
Watashi?
Sure. Just speak into the mic. Says he's running a little rough. We'll tune him up and you'll be fine. Now, how about you there?
Haben Sie mich gerufen?
How are you running?
Meine Stoßdämpfer sind abgenutzt und meine Bremsen brauchen frisch belegt zu werden.
Says he needs shocks and brakes relined. No problem, fella.
Dankeschön.
You see, at Goodyear Auto Repair Centers, we're trained to work on foreign cars. American, too. We know how to do the job right at a price that's right, and you can use your credit card to pay. So if you're driving an import, drive it to Goodyear for service.
Vous êtes très expert.
I understand.
Je vous aime.
Oh, how about that? She says she loves me.
When your car needs service, give it to Goodyear. Goodyear understands foreign cars.
Get a front end alignment and tire rotation for just $15.88 for most American cars except front-wheel drive at any of 41 Goodyear stores in the Metroplex. We want to remind you that the UTA Transitions Program for displaced homemakers has opened 2 new offices. If you're a displaced homemaker, call 273-3293 for information on where to go for help. Coming up later on this morning around 10:30, comedian Norm Crosby will be joining us, and we'll be getting the benefit of some of his wild and crazy double talk. Also this morning at 11 o'clock, Dallas Cowboy All-Pro tight end Billy Joe Dupree will be my guest. We'll be talking about football and the Dallas Cowboys and what it's like to be a famous football player, and he'll be answering your questions about what goes on. 742-5700 and 263-4905 are our telephone numbers. In the meantime, we're continuing on Wide Open Line where anything goes, and has already. Let's take another call now. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Kevin.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm feeling pretty good today.
Well, you sound like about putting that lady on like she was. I wish I could have cut in and told her who to call on Saturday. But nevertheless, I want to call and praise WFAA TV. I read in Bob Brock's column for WFAA TV, paid that young mother, I can't think of her name, I'm sorry, the young mother that her baby was kidnapped, her way plane fare to Denver to get her little girl back, and I just think it's marvelous in WFAA TV doing that, and also for you taking in that cat that had the kittens. I think that's just marvelous. People were like that, which I am, and my brother. I mean, you know what I mean. It's wonderful to do things like that.
I think most people are basically like that.
I do, too.
We all get caught up in our own selfish little world sometimes, but when the chips get down, most people I know are ready to be right there and do anything they can.
That's right, but I said just to get up and see the sun and the trees and the birds and all, it's just a wonderful, it's just, if people would just look at the good things.
Instead of playing the old game called Ain't It Awful?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll tell you what, I am completely gone on your show and Ed Bush. My son came from out of town. He says, Mother, I can't believe you'd get yourself on a talk show and talk. But I thoroughly enjoy it, and I listen to WFAA all the time, and I want to tell you, I think you're great.
Thank you very much for your kind words and support. News Talk 57, 742-5700, 263-4905. Good morning, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning.
What's on your mind?
Yes, I just wanted to call about the woman who called about her not having a TV.
Yes.
And I haven't had one for about 7.5 years, and I agree with her. It's great.
You haven't watched television for 7.5 years, except...
I didn't say I haven't watched it. I said I haven't
you don't have one. So once in a while, you're over at a friend's house or at a public place somewhere where they have a TV and you see it.
Right. It's like her. If there's a friend that has one, or if there's something really special, I'll rent one.
Well, one of the things... Are you married?
No.
You aren't married? No. Well, what do you do? Do you go out every night, or what do you do when you're home alone in the hours where most people normally watch television?
Well, I listen to the radio and I read a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I work with hobbies.
Uh-huh. And you're happy just to...
And I'm plenty content.
Yeah. That's amazing. I wonder if more people are doing that. Do you feel like you're missing out on...
about it more and more, and it's interesting.
Do you feel like you're missing out on anything?
No way.
You don't watch the football games?
Oh, occasionally.
Are you going to watch the World Series tonight?
No, I've been listening to that on radio.
Okay.
WFAA.
Well, it's funny because I watch them both.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I watch TV a lot, and I listen to radio a lot, and I read all the magazines a lot because it's something I need to do in this business. But I really like radio the best, too. I've always, everybody says, well, gee, why don't you go into TV? And I just never wanted to that much. I just like radio best. The theater of the imagination, the mind, or something. It's neater somehow to me.
Right.
We thank you for calling.
Sure, thank you.
Amazing. 742-5700, 263-4905. If you're currently holding on and waiting to talk, we ask that you just do so for a few more minutes. We'll get to you right after we take a break here for CBS News on the Hour. And we'll also try to get in touch with Jean Tier this morning, find out how she feels about her prediction coming true that the next pope would be from a communist country, something that hasn't happened in 455 years. Well, ever. There's never been a communist pope, but this is the first pope from outside of Italy in almost 500 years. Also this morning, comedian Norm Crosby and Dallas Cowboy tight end Billy Joe Dupree, all coming up. We'll continue with open lines right after the news. 742-5700, 263-4905. Stay with us.
Neil Sperry's tips will make your thumb turn green. Get first-hand advice about everything that grows from the man who knows. Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 4, only on WFAA, Dallas, Fort Worth.
CBS News. Egyptian and Israeli delegates to the Washington Peace Conference will meet separately with President Carter today. I'm Rita Sands reporting on the CBS Radio Network. Bernard Kalb has the story in Washington.
The disclosure of these separate meetings with the president came as something of a surprise against a backdrop of official reports of continuing progress in the Israeli-Egyptian negotiations. The first session with Mr. Carter will be with the Israelis, according to White House sources. That's slated to go at about 2 p.m. The second meeting between Mr. Carter and the Egyptians set for about 2 hours later. Diplomatic sources say the meetings were mutually agreed upon and that the president felt that the time had come to review with each delegation the progress made so far, and presumably to review the differences that still must be resolved. Some informed sources, in an emergency sense or in any breakthrough sense, contending that there's a need to discuss some of the issues on a presidential level. Bernard Kalb, CBS News, Washington.
More news after this.
When your headache says,
take something strong.
Common sense says,
take something safe.
Take Anacin. Anacin combines safety with extra strength. Like all leading headache tablets, Anacin starts with a pain reliever recognized safe by a panel of experts, used as directed. But Anacin gives you more pain reliever than any regular strength headache tablet.
Strength with safety. That's common sense.
Anacin combines safety you expect with extra strength you want. Use only as directed.
Today, I'm serving a lunch my kids love.
I love mini ravioli.
Chef Boyardee mini ravioli.
Boy, oh boy, I love it.
My kids love a hot lunch of mini ravioli. Beef-filled little macaroni pies smothered in a tasty tomato sauce. And I love the price. Still less than 30 cents a serving when I buy a family-sized can from Chef Boyardee.
The 1978 Nobel Prize for Chemistry has been awarded to British professor Dr. Peter Mitchell for his research concerning the chemical energy supply of living cells. The physics prize was divided among a Soviet researcher and 2 American doctors, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson of Bell Telephone Laboratories of New Jersey. They discovered the universe is filled uniformly with microwave radiation. Dr. Wilson says it tends to prove the universe was created in a giant explosion, the so-called Big Bang theory.
If you look out at the universe at the moment, what you see is when you look at objects far away from us, they are receding from us. And the farther away they are, the faster they recede. If you turn such a picture around, you see that sometime in the past, everything was together. And that's the so-called Big Bang of the origin of the universe.
The Vatican has announced that Pope John Paul II will be formally installed during a Mass on Sunday, and like his predecessor, John Paul I, the new pontiff will not be formally crowned. In his first sermon, the new pope promised to carry out reforms introduced by the Second Vatican Council. The tutuava is a silvery fish born only in Mexican waters and can weigh up to 300 pounds. It's an expensive fish because there are so few left. In fact, the U.S. has listed the tutuava on the endangered species list. Dr. William Aaron of the National Marine Fisheries Service says they're spreading the word that tutuava are not to be touched.
We have gone forward and notified all of the restaurant people. We've notified retail and wholesale fish markets that they are not allowed to bring this fish in. The response from the commercial trade has been excellent. And I think that if one were to go to Southern California today or to Arizona, you would be hard-pressed to find any sales of the fish.
The rare tutuava, especially popular on the West Coast, now has a market value of around $4 a pound, more expensive than filet mignon. I'll have more CBS News after this.
It takes just 10 seconds to give your pet the Heart's everyday vitamins he should get.
10 seconds. That's all it takes to give your dog or cat everyday vitamins from Hearts. Hearts Everyday Vitamins, the tablets your pet eats like a treat, yet they're full of important vitamins and minerals that he may be lacking. Whether your pet's full-grown, a puppy, kitten, new mother, mother-to-be, or senior citizen, take 10 seconds to show you care. Get everyday vitamins from Hearts.
I know. You've heard Rinse and Vac steam carpet cleaning is the best way to clean your carpets. But now, I must tell you there's something that gets them 20% cleaner. It's Rinse and Vac with brushes. In tests, Rinse and Vac with brushes got rugs an average of 20% cleaner than Rinse and Vac alone. Rent Rinse and Vac where hardware and housewares are sold. 20% cleaner carpets. The best just got better.
Government figures show the nation's industrial output in September rose by 0.5 percentage point, the same as in August, a solid gain that appears to rule out any danger of a recession in the near future. The gain in industrial production means the nation's mines, utilities, and factories are continuing to produce at near maximum capacity with little chance they will cut back on jobs. On Wall Street at this hour, the Dow Jones average down 8.83. Volume on the big board, 11,020,000 shares. I'm Rita Sands, CBS News.
Stayed up all night. Wow, what a blast. Now your head and your stomach needs relief fast, fast, fast. Alka-Seltzer. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer speeds relief to your aching head and upset stomach. Read and follow label directions. It's the sound of fast relief.
News Talk 57 and Kevin.
News Talk 57, WFAA, Kevin McCarthy, and we're broadcasting live from the Texas State Fair in the Centennial Building. And it's 10:07. We're going to be back to open lines here in just a second. But first, if we can get, you'll need to get those big cans on there, Norm. You will see the people on the phone you can't hear.
Oh
yeah.
Well, you can interpolate for me.
I'll interpolate for you on the phone.
If anybody calls, you can, kind of surrogate what they're saying and explain it to me.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'll buy that. Norm Crosby, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Nice to see you here early this morning.
Nice to see you. Isn't this a marvelous thing? I just walked through and saw all the exposures and the people here looking in the window.
They're
feeding time soon.
Feel a little bit like we're in a fishbowl.
There's a whole bunch of wonderful people having a good time. Adults and adulteresses and kids and everybody.
We're all out here, yes. Let's get to the phones now and take an open line call, and we'll continue hanging out. Norm's going to be a little bit of a co-host here this morning for a while. We'll let you respond to these people as they talk about some of the major issues of our day.
Okay, sure.
Hello, you're on the air.
I love my soap operas, and I don't like being tied down to a television set.
Uh-huh.
But when I want to go somewhere, I want to go then, not later. So I have a very good radio that picks up television.
You do what?
Radio.
You have a radio that picks up television.
And it's one of my favorite things right now because I can go wherever I want to and still not miss any of my programs.
Well, what do you want me to do about that for you?
Well, I don't know if there's too many people know about it.
Well, is this one of those special little radios that
No, it's, there's several companies put them out. Mine's from Sears, and General Electric has them.
And you can get TV sound on little radio units.
Well, it's a pretty good-sized portable radio.
But how can you see those anguished looks in their faces when Bob says, Betty, I'm leaving you to run away with the doctor's dog?
Half the time I'm busy mopping or sewing or something. I don't see it anyway. I just listen.
All right.
And so I feel like I'm getting out a little cheaper anyway because it's saving...
Cheaper than a TV, I guess.
And
we thank you for calling and bringing that to the attention. Soap opera fans, you can buy these things now. Thank you for calling. News Talk 57, WFAA. Norm, do you watch soap operas?
Oh, sure. I didn't know that Betty was going with the doctor's dog.
Oh, yeah. No, it's Ron, her husband.
I never knew that.
Do you ever watch soap operas? I know you travel.
I don't get up that early. Not I'm a nighttime person.
Well, you work at night, and I guess what time do you usually get to sleep after a show?
Oh, sometimes during. Sometimes I put ball games on the hearing aids and just stand and listen to music.
Let's take another call now. Good morning. You're on the air.
I want to say I enjoy your talk show very, very much. I listen to it while I'm working in an office alone. It's a great comfort to me and very entertaining and informative.
Yeah, that's why.
I'm prompted to say what I had to say about a discussion I heard on Good Morning America about a reporter who was jailed for not revealing his source of information, and how the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Berger, is actually cackling all over the place about having him put in jail. I wonder why these reporters don't get organized and just be sure that they let the public know the truth about everything. I believe the public can get behind them and get the Supreme Court bug off our backs. I'd like to hear some other comments on the subject.
All right. We were talking here a little bit about a minor technical difficulty, as we call those things in the biz, and I missed, I'm sorry, sir, the beginning part of your call. You're talking about the reporters.
He's talking about truth.
Truth, yes.
In television and in radio, that we have an obligation to say what is.
He was...
You've never lied on radio or television?
Oh, not knowingly, willingly, or unlawfully, to the best of my knowledge. We are under oath, you know.
You want me to repeat part of it?
No, I think we got the gist of your comment.
Yes, it was about Florida being jailed by the Supreme Court.
Right.
Not revealing
they were talking about that on television last night. Who was the guy? Pete Hamill from the New York Times was on with John Denver on the Tonight Show.
Right.
And Hamill, being a newspaper man, said that he really wanted the First Amendment rights to be there, but also that you got to look at the defendant's rights to have all the information available to him in a trial. And, whose rights supersede in that case? I mean, one guy's up for murder and another guy just wants to keep his sources.
Yes.
It's a tough question.
Yes, it is.
We thank you for calling, though. We'll talk more about that at 742-5700 and 263-4905. Wide open lines. Kevin McCarthy and my co-host, Norm Crosby. When we return after this.
The Railroad Commission does more than make the railroads run. It regulates the oil and gas industry. Yet on the commission sits an inexperienced man. Jim Lacey is running for his seat. For 30 years, he's worked everywhere from the oil fields to the executive offices. Jim Lacey knows the oil business and how to regulate it to everyone's best interest. James Ross of the Jim Lacey Campaign Committee, Box 2518, Midland, authorized and paid for this political ad, so you'll know to vote for Jim Lacey, an energy man for the energy job.
I put it right over there, and now it's gone.
A whole truckload of avocados?
Gone.
And now, love of avocados. Realizing Rock's rescuing Raquel was not altogether altruistic, Ashley fought off her growing hatred for Jason by being chummy with Brad, who promised not to expose the Singles Cruise incident on his TV news program.
Could you misplace a truckload of avocado?
Rod, Doreen just loves guacamole.
Let's drop in on her.
She also loves avocado salad and avocado burgers and avocado omelets.
Come in. I was expecting you.
Is it lunchtime?
Not quite yet. I'm making it with an avocado.
Whether it's brunch, lunch, or a late-night snack, make it with an avocado. The new crop of California avocados has just arrived at your favorite market, so look for delicious California avocados every time you shop the produce section of your nearby affiliated food store. where our motto is, we work harder to make you happy.
News Talk 57, WFAA, and Kevin McCarthy, and Norm Crosby here today as my co-host for the next hour. This
picked a lovely day for fifth.
Isn't it nice outside? It's cool and crisp and sunshiny and everything, and the people are waving and smiling and coming by. You didn't know I was blonde? I'm a redhead. You didn't know Norm still had hair, did you?
You knew that. That's wonderful. You know, the people here have that real Texas hospitality and warmth and superstition and everything. It's marvelous.
How did you get into being a double talker? How do you classify yourself when people say?
I'm just a regular, humidor. I try to find funny insights into what's going on. Talk about things that are real. I started out doing stand-up comedy like everybody else.